Pro basketball today on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh joined by Coach James Young with a busy weekend of basketball upon us. Of course, the NBA playoffs continue to roll on. We have also seen the start of the WNBA season. I think that the job we do here on this show is as good as any when in terms of coverage around the W, especially with the betting all involved, which is what we're excited to do. We'll talk some championship futures. We have the NBA lottery as well coming up this weekend, Coach. So a busy, fun time of hoops.
Yeah, it is a busy time in the hoops world, and obviously some big games today, some recaps. NBA and WNBA are in full swing, and obviously we got about an hour, so I'm going to stop talking because I don't think we have enough time.
So, JY, I want to start with the Lakers Thunder series because it's been a very interesting start to that series when you look at the first two basketball games. Oklahoma City have won and covered in each. And if you would have told me that, I'm not saying I would have been in disbelief, but the way it's happened in each of the two games is hard to imagine. The Lakers in the opening game of the series trailed by 4 points midway into the third quarter. They lose by 18. The Lakers had a third quarter lead in game number 2. They lose by 18. Usually, if you're going to get the amount of points that they're getting, right, Coach, 15 and a half, you're either going to get your doors blown off or you're going to hang around that number. The Lakers are hanging around, and then basically Jared McCain comes in for a little Steph Curry tribute act, and these things end up just outside the distance here. It's incredible to think that the Lakers have, in some areas, played well and not only find themselves, in that 2-0 hole, but they haven't covered yet.
Yeah, and it's something where when you play a team like Oklahoma City, you have to maintain it for 48 minutes. And the Lakers have shown an ability for 24, 28 minutes to stay the course. But the problem is they don't have necessarily the depth to keep up with Oklahoma City. At some point, it's almost like the dam is going to break at some point, and you hold on for dear life. Now, you hope that going back to your own home building, role players play better, bench guys play better, their role players play a little bit worse. You're sleeping in your own bed, you play a little bit better. So now the Lakers have to do it and just stay in the game and keep the fans involved. And, obviously McCain has done a great job, coming in and doing his little act. But that's also a lot to be said on what he should, or where he should be right now. And that's a story for another segment, because it seems like there's a team out east that could really use some kind of bench production.
You're not wrong, and we will talk Sixers Knicks undoubtedly. And, that team giving up, I think giving up's fair on McCain, finding a way to cut some money, and the postseason playing out the way it has is absolutely brutal. Out of Philadelphia and Daryl Morey, just kind of call it what it is. You're right. The Lakers are not deep enough to hang really with this Thunder team, but the Lakers are also selling out to stop Shea, which has created, a really interesting setup, right? They're not getting smoked in the Shea minutes. I'm not saying that JJ doesn't have a plan for when Shea isn't out there, but whatever it is, it's not as effective, right? SGA's individual offensive rating is 100. That's not very good. Yet the Thunder's offensive rating for the series is a 123.4. So defensively, the Lakers are doing an excellent job on the soon-to-be back-to-back MVP. They're kind of doing a bad job everywhere else. They also are running into an issue of, who are we really relying on, right? LeBron has, I think, been the first or second best player in this series. It's either him or Chet. Austin Reeves put up a stinker not even close to doing it justice how bad he was in game one. And quite honestly, I know he was very efficient and gave you 31 in game two. I thought he was pretty bad as well. He's completely out of control, and I thought the minus 20, worst of anybody on the floor, was somewhat telling of the way he played. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm relying on Marcus Smart, and what happened to Luke Kennard, and your boy, denominating, who can give you, he had 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting. So the reality is, once again, the Laker roster isn't good enough. And I don't think that Luka Doncic it would help. I'm not going to say it would, of course it would help, right? But I think people should remember that if let's turn injuries off for this series, the Lakers would still be catching 10 in every single one of these games, JY.
Yeah, and I think, listen, when you're a coach, you have one or two options, right, K-Dub? It's cut the head off at the snake and say, I don't let this guy go, but and let other guys do it, or vice versa. Now, they have tried to cut off Shea. I get it. But when you have ready first 2 games, just for field goal percentage, Chet 57%, Mitchell 50%, McCain 62%, Hartenstein 89%, 46% for Kason Wallace, 67% for Isaiah Joe. The only guys that are shooting under 45% are Caruso and Dort. So when 7 other guys are getting you 50% shooting from the floor, that's you can cut the head off the snake, but you can't let all the other ones go off and get you whatever the hell they want. So that's the issue with the Lakers, is maybe the strategy needs to be flipped. Maybe you let Shea get his, and then you cut everybody else off, because you seem to be having a problem stopping everyone else. When you get to the Lakers, yes, LeBron's been fantastic, right? Roy Hachimura, been pretty good. I know it's plus minus over the series, is minus 20 for the 2 games. Still been pretty good in my opinion. But now when the defense gets ramped up, this is where Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard go from what they were doing against Houston, what they're doing now. So someone's got to step up. Vanderbilt's out. That's another one. Laravia has not been good either. So to me, Reeves has to be the guy. And let's be honest, DeAndre Ayton, if he's giving you 6.5 points per game on 31% shooting, I don't know, Kevin. I don't think it's going to help you win any games in the series.
No, I don't think so either. I want to just quickly bring up Detroit and Cleveland through the first 2 games, Coach. And I know that Cleveland so far is perfect at home, winless on the road. My biggest takeaway from watching the Cavs is, unless they pull off the series upset, a major change is coming with one of their top 4 gone. But when I say top 4, everybody knows I'm talking Mitchell, Harden, Mobley. I mean Atkinson, more so than Jared Allen. Jared Allen being moved to me isn't enough. I'm not telling you they will or should fire Kenny Atkinson. It might happen, though. That's how bad I think this Cavs postseason has started off.
It's been really bad. And let's be perfectly clear here. They have a James Harden problem. He does not value the ball. He throws it around the gym. And unfortunately, Jared Allen is tied too much to James Harden. Harden plays well. Allen gets the pick and roll. Not working. Evan Mobley, where are you? Go into the mid post. Stop trying to be cute and try and be effective. And then there's Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, that does not play enough defense, especially when he's not scoring the ball.
Yeah, the setup right now in Cleveland is not working. Cade Cunningham is hooping. We'll stay out east. The Knicks lead 3-0. Talk about that. All right, back with you guys right here on Pro Basketball Today. And Knicks Sixers was a series a lot of people were excited for, understandably so. And the Knicks taking game one in the fashion that they did, I don't think really ruined any of that excitement because the idea, the rest and they're at home. Well, game two, things get thrown completely out the window, it feels, due to Joel Embiid being injured. And yet Philly almost steals that game. Fourth quarter lead. I think they led for probably as much of that game as they trailed. Neither team, I think, were up by 8 points or more than 8, which is not something you really see in today's game. Yet they drop the game. They're back to Philadelphia. Can they get it right? Well, they end up with Embiid back, OG Anunoby on the other side of the floor out, and close as 4.5-point favorites. They jumped on the Knicks early with a Paul George barrage, but by halftime they trailed, and they could never really pull this thing back here, Coach. 108-94, the Knicks win and under. What was your biggest takeaway from game number 3 of Knicks Sixers?
You know, I've been thinking about this for a while and really watching games 1, 2, and 3. And I spoke to someone in the media, and I'm going to come out and say it. Right now, the Sixers are a better team without Joel Embiid for long portions of the game. If the game is close, I think if they had Embiid game 2, fourth quarter, I think they could probably steal it because Kevin, that became a half-court game. Walk it up. No one can make a shot. You throw it to Embiid, he'll create fouls, he'll get to the foul line. Kevin, I just don't see offensive flow out of them. Game 2, I saw flow. I saw Maxey uber aggressive. I saw playoff P be playoff P. Well, I mean, at least for the first quarter last night as well. I saw Edgecombe looking for a shot. And honestly, I saw Kelly Oubre in spots playing well. They don't have depth, and the ball tends to stop with Joel because Joel's more interested in getting fouls than creating opportunities. And it just looks like it becomes stagnant. New York did a really good job last night of flooding McCain, Maxey, flooding him, making him give the ball up. But at the end of the day, as much as people knock Jalen Brunson for iso ball, Kevin, he has to take more shots. They got to find a way, either twist action, either try and kind of slip it and then give him space to get switches. I just think that they're kind of stuck in mud. And if it wasn't for Paul George's first quarter, this isn't even a game last night. This is 25-point blowout. And that is the problem with Philadelphia. They're relying on 3 guards to score a ton. There's no bench. And Jared McCain, I hate to say it, would be a big difference in this series because Quentin Grimes, as soon as the playoff lights turn on, he turns into a pumpkin.
Okay, so here is my pushback on some of that. I have found the Nick Nurse decisions with how much he's playing his guys to be borderline immature.
Tibbs.
Tyrese, but I don't even know if Tibbs ever did this. Game 2, Tyrese Maxey plays 47 minutes. You guys score 12 points in the fourth quarter. Nobody has legs. Oh, we're all trying to figure out who did this. Like, Adem Bona started for the Philadelphia 76ers a handful of basketball games. He doesn't play 1 second of this game until it was mop-up duty. That's unnecessary. You closed with Dominic Barlow for about 16 straight minutes in game 2 because you liked what he gave you. And then he only went 12 minutes. Andre Drummond started for you in game 2. 4 minutes. I think Trendon Watford can play a little bit. I've seen Justin Edwards hit a couple of shots. Like, are we sure Kyle Lowry couldn't give you 4 minutes? Are we sure Janai Broom? I'm sorry. Like, I know it's not college, but like, Janai Broom who went out there and finished second in the Wooden Award. Literally, like, he's a rookie. He can't give you 4 minutes. So every single Sixer game now, they get into the fourth quarter and they can't score the basketball? It's pathetic. That's not coaching, in my opinion, JY. It's listen, you can speak to it, and I'm willing to defer on it a bit, but this is unnecessary. Like, look around this league. We just talked about the Thunder, right? Who throw 100 guys at you. And they're not the only ones, though, right? San Antonio does a similar thing. Like, you reach into the... How about Chris Finch and the lessons he learned? Like, man, I wasn't giving Terrence Shannon Jr. enough of a try here. Philadelphia, I think part of Tyrese Maxey shooting 12 shots and with no free throws, I think he gets a lot of blame for that because guys of his level can't allow things like that to happen, okay? But he was also probably like, sick. I'm exhausted. I hope Joel has it going tonight or PG has it going tonight because I cannot keep running out here like this. That's not coaching, in my opinion, JY. It drives me nuts, quite honestly.
And listen, when you sub, Kevin, and you know I've talked about this, even in the gambling aspect, is you find opportunities to use the TV media timeouts, which are usually, I think, 155 seconds. At least that's what it is in college. To try and manage it. So when we were in college, we would say, all right, with the women's side, all right, we know under 5 minutes there's going to be a timeout. Let's get someone out at, like, I don't know, the 5:15 mark, right? And give them a minute of rest in regards to game time, but about 4 minutes of actual time. There's not enough of that going on in Philadelphia, and I think that's something that needs to be talked about. Is yes, the substitution patterns are like or something. The Knicks game, I hate to say this, I was never concerned that the Knicks were not going to win game 2. Because I think all Mike Brown said is, I'm going to play the long game, and I'm going to wait for Philadelphia to run out of the legs. And that's exactly what happened. The same thing happened last night.
The Sixers have 4 of the top 5 guys in minutes played this postseason. It's just the 4 starters and Embiid. That's all it is. And I have no reason to believe Embiid wouldn't be up there if he was out there. Now, listen, that's a lot of time to spend, and I think it's warranted on Philly's struggles. But the Knicks deserve a lot of credit. And I want to make a Knick comparison I think JY will like after the break right here on Pro Basketball Today. The New York Knicks have won 6 consecutive games. They've also, over the course of this postseason, lost 2 times, each by a singular point. So to say the Knicks have been dominant so far in the playoffs would be certainly a valid take. But in the way it's growing, JY, the way they feel to me a little bit is tournament UConn, where what we knew, right, becomes irrelevant, and what they're doing puts us all in catch-up mode. Where there's a reason Hurley has covered all but I believe one tournament game in the last 3 years, and it was an opening round matchup with Furman. The Knicks feel like they are just getting on this warpath, coach. I know they didn't cover game 2 against Philadelphia, but listen, I'm not asking them to win every game by 100. They've done a pretty sensational job winning 5 of these last 6 by 14 or more. The Knicks have really found something here, coach. And, I don't take issue with them moving in front of, as somebody who's picking Detroit to win the conference and did before the postseason, I don't take issue with the Knicks moving out in front of the Pistons when we talk about the conference favorites overall.
Well, I think a lot of that, Kevin, has to do with the fact of not that the Knicks are winning, it's how they're winning, right? The dominating fashion. And obviously the defense. I think as much as we have and people have knocked Mike Brown throughout the course of the season, I was one of them at times, he has righted the ship. He has gotten them to play high-level defense. He, middle of a series, which I think he gets good credit, down 2-1, decides that we're going to run the offense through Karl Anthony Towns at the top of the key and let him deal with whether it's a split screen or flex action or back screen flare action. They've allowed him to kind of be the hub. But Kevin, he's pushing the right buttons. Mikal Bridges was someone that everyone wanted to run out of New York every time he has a bad game. All of a sudden, Mikal Bridges, folks, has been playing like, I don't know, like an all-star in the last 4 games? Come on, folks. No one saw that coming. Mitchell Robinson misses the game, comes in, gives you big minutes. Landry Shamet, who literally got dusted off for weeks on end, comes in last night and gives you a huge lift. It's just a team, Kevin, that is really believing in each other. I think Brunson is allowing the game to come to him more, which then makes him more dangerous. If the Knicks play team ball and then you get late game situation, okay, JB, now go get it. That's what happened in game 2 because other guys got involved. The biggest question right now for New York, and they're playing with fire with this, is Karl Anthony Towns continues to get himself into foul trouble game after game after game. And as the level of competition steps up, and if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, he's going to have to be able to be on the floor for 30 minutes, 35 minutes a night. If they get to the NBA Finals, he's got to be on the floor 30, 35 minutes a night. So out of all the greatness of how New York is playing, there still is the cat foul trouble angle that still is going to be big at some point if he does not fix it.
Cat's minutes played in the series, 20, 27, and 26. And that isn't a coaching thing. Though there was an interesting moment, I thought, JY, in the third quarter of game 2, where he picked up another foul and he saw they were going to bench him and he was screaming, no. And sometimes a player does that and the coach is like, oh, whatever, man, just give him, you know what, maybe he can figure this out. And Mike Brown was unfazed and still subbed him out, and Cat walked to the locker room. It's a great point, JY, about the town. Like, that's why, to me, I can simultaneously feel as if the Knicks are deserving of favorite status, yet that Detroit matchup could be bad. Now, I don't want to rush ahead. We're not there yet. There's still postseason basketball to be played. Can I ask you, do you feel Mike Brown has saved his job, assuming this, the Knicks don't become the first ever team to blow a 3-0 series lead. I think if he blows the series lead, obviously, things are going to happen. But assuming he makes a conference finals here, matching obviously what Tibbs did last year and making a conference finals, do you think Mike Brown's job is safe?
Unless they get absolutely run over in Eastern Conference Finals, you have to say that. Yeah, he's probably saved his job. I think honestly, not only has he saved his job, I think this roster may have saved themselves, because now all of a sudden this whole talk of Giannis going to New York, Kevin, it's gotten really, really quiet the last couple of weeks.
Oh, Giannis, absolutely. I do wonder what the personal Giannis preference sheet looks like. And if he were to tier it, are the Knicks tier 1 alone? Are they tier 1 with some teams? Does he think back to what Kevin Durant did and tell himself, I can't, if the Knicks, it's interesting though, right? If the Knicks win the championship and you're Giannis, you're like, I can't really do that. Assuming that you're thinking about those type of things, which I think he would be. If they lose in the finals, does he get to go like, oh, I'm the missing piece? Here's the interesting thing, though. And it's a situation that you never really would have expected the Knicks to be in. Assuming they make the finals, okay? They are favorites, so we'll assume that for a second. And the Giannis and the Bucks call, they go, hey, we're ready to make the Giannis trade. I don't know if the Knicks do it. Like the guy they've wanted for half a decade, it feels like, comes available. He wants to be there. The Bucks are ready to send him there. I'm not also sure the Knicks are still that interested. Which is why that Giannis stuff this summer is going to be fascinating, Coach, because he's still one of like the 5 best guys in the league, we would say. But the health stuff, people are starting to notice more and more.
Yeah, I think the health becomes a huge concern with Giannis in regards to if you're going to make the move. I also think stylistically, does it fit? That's the other part. Now, it fits more. I'm going to say this. How can I say this correctly? It fits more Cat with Giannis than Mitchell Robinson.
I've always said that, JY. Always said that. That's people like, oh, we're gonna trade Cat and Giannis. That's the pairing. We'll be right back. Pro basketball today on SportsGrid. JY, the Spurs grab a 2-1 series lead over Minnesota after dropping the opener. They just ride the back of Victor Wembanyama, 39 and 15, 5 blocks. I will say this. This is a quick side note, okay? If you're Adam Silver, you need to tell the refs, stop not calling goaltending on Wemby, because Wemby is very, very well liked. And this is something that I said while everyone was debating Tatum and Edwards incorrectly. Wemby was the future face of the league, and that's all that had been made very clear, okay? What you do not need are the conversations going on right now of, are Wemby's blocks fake? Does Wemby do this during, the mid-January game and stuff the stat? You don't need that, okay? I'm not saying that the series is 2-1 because Wemby's getting to goaltend outrageously. I'm not saying of the, I think it's 12, 5, I think maybe 19 blocks. I'm not saying there's 10 goaltends. Probably 4. It's It's too many, though, okay? When it's like the thing that if Steph Curry's foot was on the line, okay, for like 3 of 10 made threes, but like, that still matters. That's all I'm saying. It's a quick side note. Figure out the goaltending with Wemby. Aside from that, though, JY, really impressive for San Antonio to flip this series after losing game 1 in the way they did.
And it really, let me speak first from a coach for a referee angle in regards to the goaltends. You have 3 officials, right? You have the baseline one, you have the trail, and then we have what we call the C, who's the middle guy. The C guy's got to be the one that really's got to watch the goaltending, because when you're under the basket, Kevin, you don't have the vantage point, right? When you're the trail, it's too far away. They have to make sure whoever's in the C is in good enough position to call it. And honestly, I think about I think about Patrick Ewing, and I'm going to go back because I'm a lot older than you, but in the 82 national championship game versus North Carolina, John Thompson said, whatever they throw up, throw it back. Throw it back. And if people remember, I think Ewing got like 4 or 5 goaltends in the first 4 or 5 minutes. And I would say probably 4 of them were legit. And there was a point being made. I can tell you, since a big man, people don't talk about goaltending. Talk about their shot getting blocked. So he's making it a point that whether it's a goaltender or not, it's completely changing the offensive thought of Minnesota to the point where, like, well, we're going to drive it. He's either going to alter it, block it, or he may block it and it'll be a goaltender, and he still may not call it. So now you're all out of sorts. So I think that is what it's done. So to me, if you want to call the goaltends, maybe you call them a little bit more early, and you can always review them if a team wants to contest it and go from there. Now let's get to the game. Mm-hmm. They won 2 games 2 different ways. Game 2, they blew their doors off. But game number 3, Champagny, who's been really good, 2 of 7. De'Aaron Fox, 7 out of 19. Stephon Castle, 3 out of 11. They just grinded it down. And Victor Wembanyama was Victor Wembanyama. And that's what makes San Antonio dangerous. Like almost like an Oklahoma City. They can get you by the sum of their parts, or they can get you by their big. You gotta pick one. Now, you did one really well in regards to shutting everybody else off, but when you have Wembanyama give you, what he give you, 39 and 15? Unless you're scoring enough, which you can't, that's not enough to justify getting the win.
I gotta just to your initial point about throwing guys off, and I don't want to pick on this guy because he's had like this up and down career, but he's found himself a home in Minnesota. Julius Randle has been put in a blender by just Wemby existing. He is passing out of driving lanes that Julius Randle never passes out of, ever. And the few times he's willing to take the layup, he's overshooting it. He's under, like, Julius Randle had, and this is where, like, sometimes a guy like Wemby comes along, right? Or guys even like Gobert on his own team. Just their presence alters everything. And that's what's going on right now for Julius Randle, who is as uncomfortable as you'll ever see Julius Randle be inside the paint, a place he loves to live. Get big and let people know I'm here. And he can't do it right now. What was very interesting was to see Ant finally get the start and deliver 32 points in 41 minutes. Just kind of, keep it pushing. I think what's difficult for, the way this series is set up right now, and I think most people would agree with this, is just the swing of game 4. If the Wolves win, okay, we've got something here, right? This thing may go 7. If the Spurs win game 4, everybody's thought it'll be this thing is over. And it'll be over in 5. And if you are Minnesota, if I'm being honest, I don't. While losing in 5 would be super frustrating because you took game number 1, I don't see any real pathway. As somebody who bet Minnesota before the season to win the title, I don't see any pathway for Minnesota to win next round, okay? Win the title. I don't see that. For the Spurs, though, JY, getting out of here in 5 when your counterpart in the Thunder, okay, most people think won't even play a 5th game. I just think there's got to be a level of urgency from the Spurs. Now, it doesn't mean it's a disaster if they drop game 4, right? But I think there has to be a level of urgency from this team on Sunday.
Yeah, because I think, listen, if you get it back to 2-2, you do have a team in Minnesota also that has won on your home floor. So to me, it becomes monumental. Get the series over, get your guys rested, and get ready to go. I think you're looking at all these teams, whether it's the Spurs or the Thunder or the Knicks or even right now Detroit. You want to get series over with. You don't want to play with fire, especially Minnesota, because I'll say this right now. If Minnesota gets it to game 5, right, and it's 2-2, they're in play, Kevin, because game 7, you never know, and at some point he's playing better, Ant's going to give you a 35, 40-point game. It's coming. You don't know when it's coming, but he's capable of taking over a game, a big game. So if San Antonio get it over with, that's the best pathway for them.
Now, I think we can do this since there's, we talked a lot of good things, positive things. Gosh, was I right about that De'Aaron Fox stuff? Now, people could try and push back and be like, no, it works. See, they're here. They're on the cusp of the Western Conference Finals. Okay, that's fine. The De'Aaron Fox extension kicks in next year. And flatly, I don't know how you start De'Aaron Fox over Dylan Harper going into next season. Nobody, you can tell Mitch Johnson would love to close with Dylan Harper, but he's like, I probably can't. I think I have to trust De'Aaron here. And Fox's thing is kind of supposed to be like the crunch time closer leader. Again, that's not really what it is. Again, for the Spurs, to some degree, you're like, oh, it's fine. We're young. Yes, but things change quickly. That Castle, Harper, Wemby trio is their future. I remain fascinated how it plays out for Fox over the offseason. Some W, it's around the corner. Pro basketball today, the WNBA is back. And JY, man, I am very curious if you have a preseason pick to win the WNBA championship. And look, man, sometimes you can look for some value. Sometimes you're like, nope, this is the team here. Trust me, I know what my eyes are telling me. Start there, JY. We know the Liberty are the favorite. Is that to you the team to beat entering this season? The reigning defending champion Las Vegas Aces come in with the second best odds. The Fever, Dream, Lynx round out that top five.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you think New York with that core four, but obviously they're already dealing with injury with Satu Sabali out, and obviously you look at Sabrina Ionescu, they got hurt and it's out for a couple of weeks with an ankle. So yeah, they're the prohibitive favorites. I think what's lost in what the Liberty got in Satu Sabali and retaining their core three of Ionescu, Jones, and Stewart is the re-signing of Banana Delaney Hamilton, one of the best 3-and-D players in the WNBA, which now makes them even deeper. Maureen Johannes, who missed a lot of last year before she decided to come over, she's back, right? Obviously, you look at Leona Fibic, she will be back. I think she's still got international stuff right now. I think that's why she's not in the lineup. So the Liberty has a bunch which makes them the favorite. Now, when you look at Vegas, getting Kennedy Carter was such a shrewd move to bring her off the bench. And oh my God, that team is locked and loaded with, let's be honest, the undisputed best player in the world in Asia Wilson. Especially now that Big Fish is out for a little bit, she's the best player in the world, okay? When you go past those two, there's that tier of three, right? Who am I looking at as regards to the three? To me, it's Atlanta. If they can get Angel Reese to play in a role that's good for her. Honestly, I need her to be Dennis Rodman. I need her to get every rebound. I need you, if you get the rebound, you don't get a clear pathway. I need you to kick it back out. You have Gray, you have Ryan Howard, and then the sleeper with Brianna Jones, a big that can step outside, which should open up more inside for Angel Reese. I think more than Indiana, and definitely more than Minnesota with the injury to Nick Fischer-Collar and Alana Smith and Jessica Shepard leaving and Diamond Miller leaving. I think the third team, undoubtedly, in my opinion, is the Atlanta Dream.
JY, that's exactly who I picked to win the WNBA championship, the Atlanta Dream. I think at plus 650, it's not just a great bet. I think Atlanta has the potential to be the best team in the W. The Dream last season finished with the second best point differential, the second best net rating. They were much closer to the Lynx than they actually were to the third team. Now, they just got caught by a Vegas team in terms of the standings who couldn't lose, and then they blew things in round number one against the Indiana Fever. But that Dream group were contenders last season. And the Angel Reese, Brittany Griner swap, I think based on where those two players are at their career, absolutely works. And Alicia Gray broke out to a completely different level last season, first team All-W. And if that continues, that is exciting. Because I still think Ryan Howard's the best player on this team. I think Ryan Howard, just kind of looking around, seeing some rankings, I know the efficiency isn't incredible, but she shoots the modern NBA, shot diet. 15 field goal attempts, 9 of them, almost 10 of them are coming from beyond the arc. She can guard it as well. And that's the thing for Atlanta. They are going to be able to guard on a very consistent basis, I believe, JY, in this league. Carl Semesco, maybe you know him more, was the coach over Florida Gulf Coast for years, and he was sensational there. I mean, consistently won the A-Sun. Atlanta gave him a chance, and in year number one, I think you have to be pretty pleased with those results. I think Atlanta has a great opportunity to touch on some of these other favorites that you mentioned. I took the Liberty under 32.5 for a win total because Sab's already out. Satu's not, ready to go from Jump Street here. Stewie and Jonquel each missed double-digit games last season. Maybe that becomes more of a thing. Brand new head coach. It's not that I think the Liberty are overrated, but I don't know if the Liberty should be the favorites to get the number one seed. and I think there could be better prices on the Liberty throughout the year. I am a little surprised Vegas isn't the favorite based on, and you heard what kind of coach said. They ran back the championship winning team while adding a Kennedy Carter, who a lot of people think could contend for 6th Woman of the Year. So Vegas feels super legit. Minnesota is one of the weirdest teams in the league. Fee missed enough games last year where you think, oh, they could probably figure it out. They didn't. It's not just Nafisha Collier being hurt. Alana Smith is a wing, right? Bridget Carlton is gone. They lost a lot of it. And the Courtney Williams, Olivia Miles fit is going to take some time, probably. Because it's not like either girl is set out there to, or either woman is out there to, stretch the floor and shoot a bunch of threes. The one other thing I'll add just quickly with the Indiana Fever, JY, and I don't think there's any value, and there's probably never going to be, unfortunately, but I think Caitlin Clark absolutely can win league MVP this year. I look at the way that roster is set up. Clark is, if she stays healthy, in line for by far the best season of her young WNBA career.
Yeah, I think she's lined up for it. I think, this is going to be a pivotal year. Listen, the turnovers have to come down. The three-point percentage has to go up, right? But I think it's possible she has a big year. You mentioned Carl Smethko with Atlanta Dream. I want to make sure I give a shout-out to Jose Fernandez, who's now in Dallas. This is the guy that was at USF, a hell of a coach. You talk to a lot of coaches, and I know a lot of coaches. They talk so glowingly of Jose and what he's going to do. Watch Dallas, folks. If they can figure out how Paige, Arike, and AZ can play together, Alana Smith cleans up a lot of the mess. Maddie Seagrass is a very, very much underrated 4. Dallas could be that team, Kevin, in the Western Conference that takes that next jump up. They are going to be a team to watch and going to be exciting to watch them play this year.
The Wings are supposed to play at a Alabama pace relative to the rest of this league. I'm very curious to see how it works. They are asking Alana Smith to be Rudy Gobert. I feel when I look at that roster, it's a very interesting setup in Dallas, but does look like it's going to be a really fun season. We'll close this out with the NBA Draft Lottery next on SportsGrid. Okay, guys, pro basketball today on SportsGrid. I'll throw one little just W awards thing quickly. I do think Olivia Miles is in a good position to win Rookie of the Year. Like, she's the favorite and should be. I don't know if anyone can really take MVP away from Aja or Caitlin this year. But if someone could, though, Alyssa Thomas is set up very, very well in Phoenix. They kind of just ran back the exact same team while taking on the loss of Satu Sabali. Kalia Copper is going to be one of the leading scorers in the association this season. We'll see how it plays. Just a couple of quick award thoughts before we get over to the NBA draft lottery. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young here on Pro Basketball Today. And, JY, we haven't updated these odds for people in quite some time. But these odds opened up with Darren Peterson as the favorite to go first overall. They soon flipped to AJ DeBansa. AJ DeBansa is now minus 450. 450 to be the first overall pick. Does that surprise you?
Honestly, no. The favorite, no, maybe 450 is a little rich. But if you kind of peel back and look at, let's say, the odds, right? Washington, Indiana, Brooklyn, Utah, Sacramento. Well, if it's Washington, they win. They're going to take Dibanza. If it's Indiana, they have Halliburton, and you're not going to play them two small guards like that. If it's Brooklyn, they took 15,000 point guards last year, so they can't take them. Utah, I think I'm a huge Keontae George guy, and I think maybe if you turn around and get Dibanza, you may move Markkanen, right? Sacramento, they need everything. So to me, when you start looking at the board of where not best available, but fit either or, it's Dibanza. And I think this whole report coming out in the last week about the amount of this boy taking creatine, Lord, the amount of creatine this guy was taking that led to the cramps and all this other stuff. I think it just lines up to me that not only is Dibanza the best prospect, he's got incredible upside, and he's actually safer in regards to what you think you're getting now in regards to what he can do over Peterson.
So it's a weird one for me, but I think you said the key word, which is why Dibanza is minus 450, safe. I think people are, hey, is Boozer actually this good? Like, to be very clear, Cam Boozer, as a freshman, was the best player on the number one team in the country and won the Wooden Award in a complete rout. He was unbelievable, but he's not 7 feet, or it just doesn't look as like clean, if you will, I guess, is the right. Aesthetically, it doesn't maybe look like a number one overall pick. Darren Peterson, coach mentions, it comes out that apparently he was just, I don't know, loading up on creatine, and it's why he was cramping all the time, but now he's figured this whole thing out, which, okay, got it, right? But it was a weird season. Caleb Wilson, if you'd like to throw him in the mix, I think suffered 2 major injuries at North Carolina, which is always concerning. But people need to remember this was supposed to be a real race. And it was a race that was supposed to have, Darren Peterson out in front. I am not running to bet Peterson nor Boozer in this moment. I just also would never bet minus 450 on AJ right now, because it does feel like, if Memphis wins the first pick and takes Cameron Boozer, that would be completely unsurprising to me. If Atlanta wins the first pick and thinks, nope, the perfect fit for us is Darren Peterson, that would not be surprising either. And also, if a team getting the first overall pick decides to get nutty and trade it, although that's super unlikely, but you never know. I just think, JY, this is a spot right now where I'm very excited to see who wins the lottery. But I think, as we've been saying, that's going to then really help us figure out how the draft order is going to fall when in terms of who's going where.
And I think you're absolutely right. Styles and what teams need are going to be important. I also think, Kevin, you're right. There's going to be trades. depending on who wants to move up or move down to get a certain player. It's exciting because of, honestly, the depth of the class is really, really high, and not a lot in 2027.
Are you rooting for or against anybody on lottery night?
Okay, if Oklahoma City wins the lottery, I'm done. If they get the bands up, pack it up, drive home safely, I'm not watching the NBA anymore.
The spin zone of if OKC wins it is, I think will forever beat the rigged allegations, right? Like if OKC wins it, then there's no way they rigged it for that. I don't know. It would not. You know what I would like to see? The worst teams be able to select the best players. That'd be nice. Great job, coach. We'll see you guys.